Thank you very much for this opportunity. I think this is a topic that is really, really very interesting. It's very interesting to me. It's very interesting to, I'm sure, a lot of us. I'll just start by saying, right now, AI is the buzzword everywhere, right? And it is very important that we understand the use, why it is important, how we can use it, and not just joining the bandwagon because it is there and everybody's talking about it. So that when we use it, it's really improving our productivity and it is helping us get faster to where we need to get to, as against just something that we're just trying to use because they're almost forcing it on everybody. So I'm going to start my presentation and in the spirit of honesty, because this is a an amazing platform to be part of. I'm going to share my presentation right now, and I'm just going to ask a simple question in terms of what anyone can notice. So this is going to be as much of a discussion as possible. From the needs assessment, I saw that the expertise ran the gamut from people who, in my own opinion, are even supposed to be taking this session because they've actually trained other people with AI to those who are just beginners who have not really, started using this as much. So this is going to be like knowledge sharing from those who have had some experience and me just facilitating the discussion. Those who have had some experience, those who haven't, and then we do some practical sessions and then discuss about some of the things that we should be looking at with respect to AI. So the first question I'm going to just ask, as I'm going to share my window and I'm simply going to ask a question. What do we notice? The first question is just very simple. What do we notice about my presentation? And then I'll give a story around it, and then we're going to move from there pretty quickly. I'm just going to quickly just step through the presentation. I'm not explaining anything yet. And then the first person to notice anything, please just put up your hand. It's very interactive, please. Just put up your hand, tell me what you think, and then I'll just take it from there. So this is my presentation. I'm just stepping through. Just look at what you're seeing here and tell me the first thing you notice. Once you notice anything, just tell me, please. If you notice anything, please just put your hand up. If not, by the time I get to the end, okay. Yes, please.
The fonts are not the same, and this you obviously used an AI to develop the
Finish.
presentation.
That's all I
Yeah,
needed.
yeah.
That's all I needed. Thank you. This, what you're seeing here, I'm looking at it at the same time you guys are looking at it. And I'll tell you the story. So usually whenever I facilitate discussions, I like us being practical. So seeing things, it's like me sitting in the room and we're actually doing the nitty-gritty of it. And so as soon as I was joining, I got a message. I've given you sharing rights, share your screen. And I'm like, share my screen to present what? And so I went on Copilot and I said, this is what I'm talking about. These are the things I need. Give me a presentation. Now, you can see that the first thing that we already started seeing, because I didn't have enough time to go through and direct what I was going to share as a presentation, there's some things. So I just want us to go through and see a few things. Number one, there was a lot of inconsistency. That's one thing that happens when you just let AI do everything for you, as against you being the master of it, which we're going to discuss at the end. There's a lot of inconsistency. It doesn't understand you exactly. And I'm just using this as an intro, a precursor to, you know, AI, how it thinks, how it works, and what we can do about it to harness it better. So AI is basically garbage in, garbage out. It's a student of patterns, right? So most of the time, what artificial intelligence is just a step forward from machine learning. Machine learning is basically how a computer is able to work with data that you fed it over and over again, and it's able to know what to do next based on all the information that you have given it prior. So it's almost like, say, it's like just complex programming of different ifs and else's and ifs and else's. But then there were some things that started developing over the age with respect to what you call natural language processing, where it is almost like giving it the ability to be a lot more predictive by being able to group words, group your suggestions, group all the data that you've created into it converts them into numbers, basically. I'm just using very base level to explain. It's converting them into numbers and units, and then being able to what it has trained itself over with the amount of information that it has gotten to be able to predict what it's supposed to do next, right? So that is basically what AI is. It's, in layman's language, very high advanced prediction. So it's able to guess what it's supposed to do next, or what it's supposed to say next, or what it's supposed to even type next, based on all the information that it has been given before in terms of what words came after which words, what sentences came after which sentences, what paragraphs came after which paragraphs. When it was developing this idea, what was the concept behind it? It's able to take all that and then make good predictions. So basically, AI is just a very experienced student of patterns. It studies patterns and it's able to use those patterns to predict what next to do. And I'll get back to why understanding this issue of patterns is very necessary when we look at the best ethical ways to use AI. Now, after I've said this, what I want to do is now AI has so many uses. We're actually going to do one practically here. I'm going to go off my presentation, show us one of the good things that AI can do now, and I'm going to just give a quick assignment, 5 minutes for us to try something around it. But before I go into that, like I said earlier, from the needs assessment, I have seen that there are a number of, I don't want to just give my own experience of how I started using AI and how it has been advantageous to me, because I feel like hearing it from ourselves will be a lot better than me just being the one to talk all the time. So what I'm going to do here is, I know from the assessment that some people talked about the fact that they, number one, use AI in their daily lives, already in their daily work. And then I saw just one of someone that actually said she also trains people on how to use AI. So I'll yield the floor to just three people to, in 1 minute each, talk about how they use AI in their daily lives. Then I'll just move to the next segment. So I'm yielding the floor now. You can just unmute yourself, or put your hand up. I'll see if I can see it, and then I'll just give room for us to talk. So right now, our daily life. So I've seen Mrs. Lola. I need two more. Okay. So Mrs. Adit Toro, and then volunteered by special request, Dr. Ayodele. So we'll start with Mrs. Lola and then Mrs. Adit Toro. Sorry, please. I hope I'm not murdering any names. And if I am, please forgive me beforehand. And then the doctor will round it up for us. So Ms. Lola, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Ellie. So for me, AI is my personal assistant, and I do a lot around AI when it comes to presentation, research, when it comes to even asking it to come up with emails for me, for my clients. So basically what a personal assistant will do for me is what AI does for me. And I've also realized that it has helped me to reduce the number of staff that I have, because most of the jobs that mundane and routine jobs, I use AI to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to give, so maybe I'll hear from the others, and then I'll ask just a few follow-up questions for the sake of those that are getting into the AI space right now, and are just beginning to understand, where do I go? How do I start? What do I do? But I just want to hear from everybody first. I mean, from our next two volunteers, then I'll go to that next question. So, Mrs. Aditoro, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So for me, My daughter introduced me to AI because when they
Amazing.
were saying AI, so I just said so. She said that there was a day I was struggling with a presentation, and she said I can use AI to do my presentation. And so I say, is it some? So I think I use Cloud or something. So I use for my
Yeah, yeah,
presentation. Then even now, when I'm looking at my CV, I want to share my CV with anyone. I look at the roles given to me from the JD, put it with my CV, and tell AI to make sure that my CV align with that role. I also do that with AI now. When I'm doing a product research around my, because I work in an IT space. So when I'm doing my product research and I want to write about a product, I'll just put that product there, the sector they are using it, and it will give me some features around that product, and it will make my life easier. And I'll just say, wow. Then I also use it for research. When I want to write some mails and I'm in a hurry, I will just put the content there. It will give me at least it will give me a frame and I can fill it up. So it has really helped me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we've seen some talk about it being a personal assistant with emails, with things like that. We've seen research, helping with research work, helping even with, looking at your CV and being able to make sure things line up. So I see another hand, but maybe we'll listen to our doctor first, Dr. Ayodele, and then we'll go to Mrs. Fumilola.
Thank you very much. I use AI for virtually everything.
Mm,
When I have an idea that I'm very sure of, I use AI to put them together, most especially
mhm,
that has to do with research, coming
mhm,
up with when I know my what I'm working towards, I can use it to generate a topic or
mhm,
topics. There are
mhm.
times that I use it to even when I have problem with codes, I use it to
Mm,
generate code before dumping it. You understand?
wow,
To check
wow,
whether it's
wow.
working or not working. I use it for editing. I use it for PowerPoint. When I have what do you call it? When I have a presentation or when I have an idea, when I have to the extent of using it to generate meeting outcome, I do that.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
share my idea,
amazing.
what I know, what I think. I use it to come up with logos. So I use it for virtually everything.
Wow, wow. So we are seeing another example. Sorry, are you done? Because I want to. Okay, thank you. I'm seeing some interesting thing from the chat as well. Ms. Lola that spoke to us earlier says she also uses it for video campaigns too. I'll yield the floor to Mrs. Funlola before I come back to address that as well. Ms. Funlola, please.
I use AI virtually for everything as we speak. Now I don't use Canva to do my design again for my flyers. I use AI for my flyer design. I
Mhm.
use AI for promotional videos, product launch, and I use it to produce songs. At least I have some songs I've produced and I've tried to put them on Audio Mark. For logo
Wow.
designs, for PowerPoint presentations, for storytelling. And I also created a broadcast that I use my hair avatar to also do that as well.
Wow. Wow. So thank you so much. So you see here that we're beginning to see even some more advanced, uses for AI with respect to even music. We're looking at in terms of generating podcasts. We're looking at it here too, like Mrs. Lola also mentioned, in terms of generating videos. We're looking at product launches. What I want us to do quickly in the chat, just also for the sake of those who are getting into the AI space and saying, what are the different tools and what can I use them for? Um, I know there are people that said I use it for editing my CV. I know the ones that have said I use agentic AI tool for cybersecurity. I use this, I use that. Can you just quickly, you can type it as many times as possible. I'll just give 3 minutes and I'll be addressing them as I'm looking at them. Type what you have. So I'll give an example. First of all, I'll type the first one. So for example, for my headshot, I actually used Gemini. Some people use ChatGPT. I use Gemini, and then say who hosts it. Or if for any reason you have if it's a web tool, put the link to that web tool on the chat. If it's an app, just write the name of the app. Right. So right now I'm going to put the first entry there. So if you can all just go there, type it in. It's necessary for those who are starting to see, oh, this is an app that will be useful for me to do this. This is an app that will be useful for me to do this. And then it helps them to start their journey before I go into the next practical session. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, thank you. So I've put the first one. I put my headshot, Gemini. Okay, I'm seeing Midjourney for graphics design. Please, can you put the link as well? Because somebody will not just research Midjourney. Do you use Discourse for Midjourney? So basically, so you can see that for Gemini, I put the link for Gemini so that if somebody is just starting and they're saying, oh, I like the fact that somebody is using it to vet their CV, what app do you use? The link is already there. So since I've put the link for Gemini, the first person to put the one for Midjourney, if there's a link or if it's an app, we need a description. For vetting, Mrs. Vola said I use it for vetting. What do you use for vetting? What particular app do you use for vetting? And if it's one that the link has already been posted here, that's fine. But if it's not, please post the link. So Gemini Workspace for videos, research, and practically everything. Yes, perfect. So please, Mrs. Lola, since we already have Gemini up there, could you also put the links for DeepSeek and ChatGPT? Thank you, Mrs. Bamdele, for Midjourney. Thank you for ChatGPT. Thank you for DeepSeek. Thank you. Just keep them coming in, just so that anybody who is just getting in, instead of us to start a beginner session on, okay, how do you use this tool? We're just going all the way to just list these different ones and what they're used for, so that someone who wants to try their hands on can just simply see these links, click it, go there, and start learning by themselves, right? Okay. Grok, I think Grok is on Twitter. Isn't Grok on X, or is it a different platform? Please remember, include your links there too. Thank you so much for participating. I think this really helps us. Okay, so as we're looking at these, I'm going to say some things with respect to some of these things. Now, we're seeing so many different AI platforms being listed, and these are already very well validated. We have now a lot of these AI tools could be used for the same things, and some could be used for different things. I'm going to ask one question, please, as we're typing all this. I saw AI agentic for cybersecurity. Ms. Lola, please, could you just in 1 minute just summarize what that is about and how, the agentic AI has been helpful in that space, because that's something that I was about to go into here as well.
All right, thank you. All right, so basically what AI agentic does is, especially for those of us in cybersecurity, normally when you're in maybe SOC or SIM, you have to keep monitoring the vulnerability and the threats, right? Well, with AI agentic, you just put the prompt, it monitors it. If it sees a threat, he will not only report the threat, he will do what is called autonomous decision to say, oh, this threat is critical. I'm going to block this port. I'm going to quarantine this user make that decision that even human beings will have to say, okay, there's this threat, I need to get approval for my boss to do it, and that delay can cause an attacker to come in. So AI agentic is very good for the cybersecurity space. Like I said, it looks at the risk, mitigates the risk, make an autonomous decision, and it's as good as not even having anybody there, because it works. It's perfect. Although the bad boys use this and to also counter what is happening. So what they do is, they use AI agentic to also what's the word?
Continue
Replicate.
looking for vulnerabilities.
Yeah, they replicate, the existing processes and protocols that you put in place, and it will look almost exactly like what you're looking for. So as a matter of fact, you end up seeing a threat coming, and because they've been able to master the AI to make that threat look like it is normal, it's usually very difficult to get that threat. So you have to be a step ahead. Sorry about that. You have to be a step ahead of them, even when it comes to AI agentic. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll just say something quickly about that, then we'll move on to it. So we are already seeing, before we go into some of the other places that some of us that I would want to touch on, we're already seeing that as good as AI is, the fact that it is, so to speak, autonomous in its decision making after we have given it our prompts, we are beginning to see that it's can be used by others in the same way to counter some of the things that we're doing, which we're going to deal with a little bit later. But I love, if we take time to go through this chat, you would already see that there's so many tools that and I love, there are two types of tools I'm seeing here. There are some purely AI tools such as ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot. These tools that we are seeing are purely just AI tools in and of themselves for your research, for finding out information, for doing some things, video or pictures or audio or things like that. And then there are the AI tools that are built together with already existing platforms to make those platforms better. And I'm seeing some like Canva AI, basically because we already had Canva, you're layering AI on top of it to help to auto-generate some of your flyers, your presentations, and they've even gone ahead to do Canva code because people do their websites, like the physical design, how it's supposed to look. And then you see that people are able to use AI to do all that to make it better. Now that we've gone through a lot of this to see all the tools. So at first, I love teaching, so I want us to always backtrack. First, we've understood what AI is about. We've heard some people talk about how they use AI and how important it is. Now we've seen here a lot of tools. It's just because we don't have enough time. Hopefully in future sessions, we can pick some and zero in on them. We've seen a lot of tools for beginners to say, let me try this one out. If I want to do a headshot, I have seen that they've said Gemini is good for doing headshots. I have seen the link that has been put there. I just follow the link and say, I want a headshot. Here is my picture, and then see what it generates. If it's nice, come and share it with the group. If it gives you somebody that doesn't look like you, please hold the person that put it there. So, so the next thing that we're going to do, because of time, the next thing we're going to do is a practical session. Now, we've heard that AI is useful for so many different things, right? I just want to bring one that a number of us might already be familiar with. Some of us might not be. It's a productivity tool. I love the fact that a number of them, especially, I think it was Mrs. Adetoro that talked about her daughter introducing her to AI, and she talked about Claude. And so there's a feature there that I want all of us to try at the same time now. and I want to see, I'm going to share my screen, show us what it can do, and then give us just 2 minutes to create our own. It's called artifacts. Let's create our own artifacts and publish our artifacts here just to test run how we're thinking. Now, what is an artifact with Claude? An artifact is something that you can quickly create and publish for other people to benefit from. I don't know if that makes sense. So if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to do that in a minute. So so I was about to just open the app, but no, I'm going to share my screen first so that you'll see from where we are now all the way until we get to where we're supposed to be. So please pardon me if you see any chat on WhatsApp we're not supposed to see. Okay, so I'm going to start from. I hope you can all see my screen. If you can see my screen, please just put a thumbs up. It will encourage me to keep going. Can you see my screen? Okay, yes. Okay, I've seen a number of thumbs up of different colors. Thank you. Okay, so you can see going to any AI tool is really easy. Just again, as just a quick refresher for beginners. So I'm going to use Claude. To be honest, you know that I do not even know the address for Claude. So I'm just going to type Claude on Google. Okay, so it's Claude.ai. And it just opens up the so if you want to just get a head start, so it opens up the Claude platform. Now I'm going to go to it so you can see the the myriads of chats I've had with it, thinking through things, which I'm going to touch on towards the end. But now where I want to go to is artifacts. So this is what we're all going to try and do. So you go to Claude and then you go to artifacts. Now, what is an artifact? You see so many artifacts that are already here that have been developed for different things, right? Artifacts are things that you can create yourself using AI and then publish either publicly or privately for people to use and then you can get feedback based on it, right? So I'm going to create an artifact. Now, personally for me, my main field is in education. And we use, technology to bridge the gap for out of school children in out of school areas. So I'll just give a very quick story to show you what I'm about to do now. I went to an IDP camp today because we're doing a video shoot on the impact of the talking books that we use there. And before going there, one of the things that we're creating is an app that the teachers can use to test how well the children are learning. But it's an app that works perfectly offline because we know that internet access is a very big problem the farther into the rural areas you get. So it will download these games. They can do it offline. When they come back online, it uploads the results so that the people who are funding these children can on a high level see how well these children are learning using our own flagship products called the talking books. I can talk about that later. Now, what happened today? When I got there, there were a group of young men that were not going to school. Some were in just one, some were in just two. Some said they were not feeling fine. That's why they hadn't gone. Some were saying they've not gone to school in a while. And so I wanted to test run this offline spelling game that I had created offline app. And I wanted to use the spelling game to test to see what they were used to see how they enjoyed. If they actually had gone to school before. Now, these learners, it was just one game I had created. We're going to create so many for this app. But when they had played what happened was I played this first game with them and they thoroughly enjoyed it. But it was just one game with just a limited number of questions. Now, by the time I went into the learning center in the IDP camp and I came back out to the car, these boys that were seemingly not in school, that were just roaming the area, that had come together when they saw the car and they saw us come out with our videoing equipment, they came back to meet me and said, Oga, we want to play another game. They wanted to do another learning game that will test their learning level. But guess what? I had already finished programming the one that I had programmed. Now, here is what I was going to have. This is an example of what I would have loved to do if I had good internet access there, which is what I'm about to demonstrate now. I would have clicked on new artifact. And now, this is what I was going to do. Now, I was going to create a quick game, right? Now, okay, so you can see it's already asking me what do I have in mind? What type of game do I have in mind? What is it all about? How many players to play? Now, unfortunately, my internet is not moving as fast. So just 1 second. Let's start this again. So instead of choosing one, I'm just going to start from scratch, right? Okay. So I hope, can you all see my screen? Okay, good. I want to. So you can see what I'm typing. I want to create a simple game. This is what is, and this is all I'm asking it, that generates 3-letter phonic words. And I'm going to describe what a phonic word is. A phonic word is a word that the of the sounds of the individual letters combined is the sound of the word, e.g., man, cat, dog, lap, map, etc. Choose words that have pictures that can be displayed, or call out the word, and then have letter options for them to select to spell the word. So I'm going to try this. So I'm trying this together with everybody to see what creating artifacts could look like. So now I'm trying to create this, and now let's see what it goes ahead to do. So now, so you can see what it's doing. Because I needed images and it couldn't just construct images, it's using emojis for the images. And it's creating an artifact of the game. So if I had my laptop and I had, or even my phone, and I had this artifact, I would have easily been able to create this game. Now, here's the beautiful thing about artifacts as against other tools. The difference between artifacts and other regular things that you design, maybe if you're trying to work on some research or anything like that, is that you can publish your artifact here. So by the time I publish my artifact, it gets a URL or a link that I can share to anyone. So you can see it's still, now this is, if you remember what Miss Lola talked about in terms of agentic AI, this is an example of what an agent with respect to AI is about. The difference between regular AI in terms of maybe writing an essay and agentic AI is that agentic AI is when you work with agents. And an agent is something that simply checks itself and corrects itself. Does that make sense? So it always checks itself and corrects itself. And now, guess what? For the children that did not have enough words, I hope you can see my screen now. And you can see my brief game that I've created for these children. Now I'm going to publish it so that if any of you have children that are within the ages of 5 and 7 and you want to just play this game with them, it becomes easy. But let's play the game first to be sure that it works. I'm trying to shift my screen so that. So we're going to play this game. We're spelling the word. We have P, we have I, we have G. Check answer. Correct. Well done. So let's go to the next word. See, it's still giving me a pig again. Let's see if it can go beyond pig. And how do I delete it? Okay, clear. P-I-G. Check answer. Well done. Oh, beautiful. We have a bat. So I hope, so this is very simple. And now what I'm doing here is I'm going to publish. And once I've published it, it gives me so publish and copy the link. And now this activity, so I've copied the link and I'm placing the link in our chat right now for all those who want to use it with their children. If you just go to this link now, and if any of you clicks on this link right now and you go to your browser, you just copy this link and paste it on your browser, you see that you all already have access to this game. I don't know if it makes sense. Okay, sorry, I have a hand that is up. Please, let me yield the floor and then I can move forward.
All right. Thank you. So I raised my hand because I want to be like a devil's advocate here. And what I usually
Why not?
For AI, I just don't rely on it 100%. I do like a spot check. So can we go back to the builder and spell bat wrongly and see if it's still going to give us
Why not?
thing?
Why not? That's amazing. That's amazing.
All right.
So please keep your
all this check.
Yes, keep your audio on so that we can work towards this together. So let's go to the next word. This is supposed to be cup, so I'm going to spell it with C-R-P. And let's see, check the answer. You see that? Try again. So let's try it again. C-I-P, check answer. Still try again. Let's clear and then C-U-P. Check answer. Correct. Well done. So so this works. Now let me even try the audio mode. Let me see. What?
Map.
It actually does pronounce the word. So if you guys heard it, it actually pronounces the word and then you can, whoops. Okay, now you can only clear. But my point is, so you can see that this is something that's very possible to do. Remember, this is just very boilerplate that we created, right? The picture mode, the audio mode, and then it can give you the score. And so this is what agentic AI can do. There's so many other things that you can build, and when you build them, you can actually share to other people. It could be a survey, it could be a questionnaire, it could be a game, it could be a quick audit check. For example, you can, for example, let's say you've had a talk, even this talk, if I was recording this talk and at the end of it, I take all my audio and then I feed it back and say, can you create a game, question and answer with options based on this, right? So ordinarily, because of time, I would have loved for us to, we all know that we have different things that we would have loved to create like this. If you had the chance to create an artifact, whether it's a game or something that you could share with people, I would have loved for us, I think it's supposed to stop at 7. So I would have loved for us to do that. But if there's a WhatsApp group, if there's anything that we have together, just try your hands on creating any agent, publish it, share it with the group, and let's see who can be the most creative to create an artifact that actually really does something and makes meaning and can be impactful for either your children, your friends, whoever it is. It's always good to hear from us what we're able to do with the likes of this. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to, it's up for discussion. And because it's a very it could go either way. And it's something that every time that AI is discussed, this needs to be discussed as well. And that is the idea generally. Or first of all, before I go into that, there's something that always leads into that. Um, for those who have used AI before, or often, I have a question, and when you're answering the question, can you give the exact instance where it happened and what you had to do about it? There's something that is common to AI, and it's called hallucination. Hallucination is basically when because remember that a lot of times AI spits out so much for you, and it could get it wrong. And the more you try to correct it, you're just going down a rabbit hole, or it gives you information that is incorrect, and either you use that incorrect information and got into trouble, or you're able to spot it immediately and then ask for what was the correct information. How many of have if you've experienced hallucination with AI, please, I would love for you to share and what exactly the instance was. And then, so I'll just leave room for just two people very quickly before I now explain why I am bringing that up.
All right, thank you. So I experienced hallucination when ChatGPT just came out, and of course my prompt engineering skills were not as good as it is now. So there was a particular instance that I was trying to get an information. A client wanted something, and I wasn't familiar with that terrain. It had to do with, I think it had to do with AI too, and how they can use AI for their processes, right? So I was asking what AI can do for that particular client. I'm not going to give you the details because of NDA that I signed with the client. And AI could not, figure it out. Then I also remember that recently I, tried to ask some things about, some personal things from AI. Personal, but then spiritual, that I was getting a bit confused about, to say, okay, so act like you're God, with what would you do in this kind of situation? What would you tell me as your child in this kind of situation? And AI was like, I'm sorry, I'm not I'm not God, so I can't give you this. Or then there was another one that said, I'm not, I don't have this information to give you at this moment. Then there's another one that says, I'm not privileged to give you that information. So I've tried, because sometimes I like to mess around with tools like that to see loopholes, maybe because of my, cybersecurity knowledge. I'll try to look for loopholes to see what the thing can do and what it cannot do. So it's interesting, but again, we need to also be very careful on the things we ask, because remember that this data is being stored somewhere and is also being used to make AI perfect and become better. So such questions, they can always use it to say, okay, you know what, let's start looking at it, since people are now looking at that area where they can ask AI to act as God. So let's see what would happen. So those are my experiences. Thank you.
Talking about AI also, this morning I had my own shock of an experience, actually. I mistakenly sprayed the wrong thing on my hair, and I said, oh my goodness, how did I do that? And so I was quite worried as to what the ingredients could be. I tried to rinse it off and everything like that, but I just went to AI just to say, what are the ingredients, chemicals in this particular product? And AI couldn't help so much, because on the bottle itself, AI wasn't able to do, on the bottle itself, it didn't have much, and it really struggled. We just kept on going round and round, and it didn't do much. And I was really worried about it being harmful. And then AI comes back and tells me that, yes, you need to be careful, because you are suffering from XYZ, and therefore you need. I thought, what? So I went back to AI and said, where did you get that information from? I said, you mentioned it. So I said, when and what was the context? And then AI said that chat, when I say I'm actually referring to Chat GPT, it said something about, oh, I can't really tell you the context. So I'm wondering, why can't you tell me the context? So we went round and round on it. Then AI then says, oh, do you want me to delete that information? I said, yes, please delete it. But after saying delete it, I then went back to ask another question on regarding this. In my mind, if you've deleted it, and I wonder what they mean by delete, then you shouldn't be able to. I expected AI to come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't, I don't have that information anymore. AI still gave me a response on it. But what I'm getting at is that we need to be very careful what we share with AI. I try to be careful. So I'm really, really, and that's why I asked that, what was the context? When did I discuss this with you? That you're telling me about my health issues. I was really upset to see that. But it's just something that one needs to be mindful of. It's just collecting data upon data upon data upon data.
Thank you. It's been, to be honest, been wonderful, even listening, hearing, and co-learning. Some of the apps that you guys talked about, I think we'll even go check them out. I hope some of us will try creating some artifacts as a way of just getting ourselves into being able to use AI to create something that we can ask other people to try and use and see if it was useful to them. The last thing I wanted to just talk about, and I'll just summarize it in 1 minute, is the concept of AI. If I ask a quick question, I probably believe all of us will give the same answer, but in practice, is that really the case? And my question is, should AI be our executive assistant or our creative director? It's sometimes a controversial topic, but it's a topic nonetheless. Should AI be our creative director or our executive assistant? Some people could, if you want to give an answer, just type it quickly in there as I start talking. Okay, I'm seeing one response: executive assistant. Different people can. Now, remember when I started initially, I talked about the fact that AI is the best student of patterns ever created in the world. Now, the thing about AI, because it is a student of patterns, a lot of times it works with what it has been fed to try to create things. But what then happens when we seed our creativity to AI is that at every point in time, we find out that the world will slowly, we think it's color, but it's slowly drifting towards black and white. Nice. So for people who talk about creative director, I'll need you to, so that I'm getting the angles that we're coming from, and every angle can be accepted. Please, just in 20 seconds, because I'm wrapping up right now. In 20 seconds, explain what your concept of a creative director with AI is. And then I'll be explaining my own point. And then if there's need to carry this conversation into another meeting so that I could also learn. I'm just giving, this is maybe some personal bias. And I'm just giving it as a food for thought, right? So we're getting into a world where a lot of times, because of the advent of AI and what it's able to do, whenever we think about something, I love when a number of people talked about, even I remember that Dr. Ayodele also talked about it, that when she has her ideas, she puts her points together and then she can discuss with AI to basically put it together. You find out that there are a crop of people that are growing, that instead of it being their idea that they're discussing with AI, they're blank and they're saying all the idea generation is coming from AI. And then all the idea population is still coming from AI. And then the execution is coming from AI. So what happens is that without knowing the world, if you've seen, for people who have received applications before, you'll see that you receive applications and 80 out of 100 people are answering a question the exact same way. they have the exact same answer, or at least variations of that same answer. So I would always advise that what happens when we seed our creativity to AI is that in the end, if you're in a meeting, I'll give an example. So is AI helping you to, on your own, be a better operative, or is AI making you get to the level where you know that if you don't have it for one day, you'll have a fit because you don't know what you're going to do? So if you're researching on a topic and AI is able to do the research for you, are you at the stage where the next time you're discussing that paper with somebody else, you're better able to discuss that paper or that project with someone else because you're more knowledgeable now? Or are you less knowledgeable because you know that AI has done the work for you, and at the end of it all, it's AI that knows? So that's something that is always a food for thought, right? If I'm a programmer, for example, a software developer, is AI making me a better programmer in terms of now I know more components that I need to work with, I know more packages that I can work on, and if I'm discussing toe to toe with another programmer, my wealth of knowledge is there? Or is all I'm telling the person that I can use AI for this, I can do this with AI, I can do this? Why is that possible? I really don't know. If I'm in a this I'm let's say I'm a software developer, it's my field I always talk about. If I've learned if I use AI a lot, a whole lot, but I make sure that everything that I'm doing with it is helping me to learn to become a much more experienced programmer, so that the next time I'm discussing and thinking through ideas, I have more wealth of information, as against when it has built it for me to the extent that if there was something fundamentally wrong with the code, I don't even know where to start from. And instead, all I just end up doing is telling AI, there's a problem with that code that you wrote, go and fix it. So it's what we need to end up, because what that eventually does is AI is much different from every technological advancement that we've experienced before, because it is a custodian also of knowledge. So those are two different things. For example, we can talk about the industrial boom where we started having cars, when we started having bikes, cars, computers. I'll give an example with computers. The person who grew up with us as like a house help went to secretarial school, and she was using a typewriter. And she comes home and she sees us using computers to type, and she's like, "You guys don't know. Typewriter is this stuff. You guys are being babied with computers. So if there's no computer now, how are you going to use a typewriter to type?" And I told her I will never use a typewriter to type. So I don't need to. And when she's trying to use the computer, she presses it so hard that to type D 3 times or F 4 times. So, well, I would never need to use a typewriter because there's something else that has come that is better at doing it. But the difference between this and AI, as AI has come, is that AI has come also as a custodian of knowledge. So, which means that it is not only doing it for you, but it is holding the knowledge that it takes to need to do it. So, if we're not careful with our use of AI, you go 10 years and you find out that you know less than you knew before. As against when the computer...
So, Chiemezie,
yes.
Sorry, Chiemezie.
Yes.
I want to interrupt.
Okay, no problem.
Want to interrupt you. I think I don't want you to go any further on that. I want you to hold on to that, because that will now be the teaser and entry for our next session, because we have agreed that we're going to have a next session, if that's okay with you. Because what you're discussing is really, really quite critical, but we also then need to round up. So, and I think this is a good point to end. I know we had discussed it, that we have to speak about this. Is really important, but I think let's save it to the next session. So at least we have another good, great takeaway for the next session, if that works for you.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Surely does.
So, ladies, I think we can give Chiemezie a round of applause. I don't think I'm the only one that had a good time on this call, and I don't think I'm the only one that learned something. So please, 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 let's shower him with our love, our gratitude. You know, I think he did a good job. I think he did a good job.
Okay.
And you know, Meze, that you're presenting to mostly people that are computer scientists in technology field, you know. And I'm sure you know that from our name, Nigerian Women in IT.
Definitely.
You know,
Yes.
so it was just really great having you here.
Okay, sure. Definitely.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Meze.